Thank you very much, dear devotees, for kindly being present here once again in our second session of Sri Rupa Goswami's Sikharini. And we have already defined Sikharini previously, and today we are continuing from where we left off yesterday. But before we begin, we should perform auspicious invocations in order to evoke the mercy of the previous acharyas, so that the speaker is immensely benefited by performing auspicious invocations. The speaker feels that he is not an orphan. There is an entire Guru Parampara behind the speaker who are willing to support the speaker, and thus the speaker gets strength by speaking Mangalacharan, and the audience also gets auspiciousness by repeating Mangalacharan. So dear devotees, let us recite Mangalacharan. Most of us know these verses. You can kindly sing along with me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Nitai Gaur Premanande. So, Sri Prahlad Prabhu, thank you so much for playing the mridanga so nicely. It is the mridanga which makes the kirtan, actually. If the mridanga is not good, then the kirtan is not good. So thank you for playing the kirtan for the mridanga so nicely, Prabhu. And I also have you, as someone who can speak out what is given on the slides. I hope it is not, for some of you it is difficult, just turn around exactly 180 degrees in order to look at the slides. But dear devotees, we have some very valuable messages in the slides. So we will read something from the slides. We'll begin with a quote from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada wants to say something. Srila Prabhupada Uvacha.
Narottam Das Thakur says, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haive Kuti. Eagerness. When will I try to understand Yugala Priti, the conjugal love of Radha Krishna, through the literature of Rupa Raghunath? To understand Radha Krishna and their love affairs, one has to understand through the literature given by Rupa Goswami.
So this is a very important extract from a lecture that Srila Prabhupada gave. And it is important because the verse from Narottam Das Thakur that he is quoting is Rupa Raghunatha Pade. And as I said yesterday, Pada usually means feet. But Srila Prabhupada interprets here Pada as poetry. And this is a very unique interpretation, that simply by understanding the poetry, Pada, of Sri Rupa and Raghunath, one will be able to understand Yugala Priti, the divine loving affairs of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. And we are every day aspiring for it. Believe it or not, consciously or unconsciously, we are every day praying, Sri Radha Govinda Preme Sadayana Bhasi, that may I always dive into the loving pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna. Every day in the Tulasi Aarti, all the devotees are praying for this attainment. And Srila Prabhupada says it is possible by following the Pada. Pada, dear devotees, means literature, poetry of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath. And I am very happy that I have a Vaishnava audience. I have connoisseurs of literature, connoisseurs of music, connoisseurs of art. I have support in the form of senior Vaishnavas like His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj, like His Holiness Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj. So when this support is there, this like-minded Vaishnava audience is there, then the speaker becomes confident enough to speak out what he wants to speak. Otherwise, if a Vaishnava audience would not be there, I would be most unconfident in speaking this. As I said yesterday, if I would speak this in a university with all the PhD professors who are sitting like this, then I would be most uncomfortable. So I have Vaishnavas like all of you, and the glory of such a Vaishnava audience is spoken of by the previous authorities. Kavayah paritushyanti netare kavi suktibhi nahyakuparavat kupa vardhante vidhukantibhi. Kavayah paritushyanti. Only those who are poetic Vaishnavas at heart, they will be satisfied, they will be happy by hearing poetry. Na itare. Others who are not Vaishnava at heart, who do not have a heart for poetry, they will never be satisfied. So an example is given to prove the same. Na hi akuparavat kupa vardhante vidhu kantibihi. The full moon has arisen in the sky, but that full moon only causes a swelling in the ocean, dear devotees. That full moon doesn't cause a swelling in a narrow well. It is important for broad-minded Vaishnavas to be present in the audience so that their hearts will swell when the pastimes of the full moon like Krishna Chandra will be repeated. I cannot expect this in front of somebody whose heart is like a well. Therefore, dear devotees, you all are the audience who are very much needed for me to speak out these poetries. I thank all of you very much, dear devotees, for kindly coming here. It is an important part of Vaishnava culture to glorify the audience. I can never take my audience for granted, because tomorrow if I don't have this audience, to whom will I speak? So, all of you, dear devotees, are most important in my seva of performing Shri Krishna Kirtan. Shri Krishna Kirtan is not complete unless there is somebody to perform Shravan. So all of you are rendering seva here as Shravan, but you are allowing me to render seva as Kirtan. And without you, it is not possible. Together, let us make it some Kirtan, dear devotees, by singing these verses together. And as I said yesterday, every speaker who tries to speak on the verses of Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, they are always faced with a perpetual dilemma, because there may be somebody in the audience who may still be sitting like this. And we are most afraid of such individuals. So what should I do? So I also need some comforting verses in order to console myself, make myself confident that I can speak this out. So in the 9th century, on the western part of India, there appeared a poet named Sri Jayadev. This Sri Jayadev is different from the Jayadev Goswami that we know of. This is the western Sri Jayadev. Westerners are not glorified in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So those who are from the western part of India, Chaitanya Charitamrita doesn't speak highly of them. But there are some exceptions, like Sri Jayadev. So when he started writing a literature on poetics, on kavya, there were many people who similarly took the stance of challenging him and saying, all the previous authorities have already written. Why are you spoiling their explanations by speaking something new? So he said, I am not speaking anything new. I am only going to repeat their siddhantas, but I am going to present it in my way. So they said, even your way of presentation will spoil whatever they have said. So kindly keep quiet. Sri Jayadev at that point of time composed a verse which I like very much. This verse was composed by him at the beginning of his literature, Chandra Lokaha, a beautiful literature on poetics. And this verse is as follows. Na shankaniyame tesham matam etena dushyate kintu chakshur mrigakshinam kajjaleneva bhushyate na ashankaniyam. Dear devotees, dear audience, don't have this doubt in your mind. Etesham matam, that the poetry of the previous acharyas, etena dushyate, will be spoiled by my explanations. Please don't have this doubt in your heart. You see, sometimes poets express confidence. So the poet is expressing confidence. Please don't have doubt that if a crow like me speaks the poetry of Sri Rupa Goswami, the poetry of Sri Rupa Goswami will be spoiled. Then he says, Kajjaleneva bhushyate. My explanations may be most useless, like kajal. Does anybody know what is kajal? Yes, it's called kohl, K-O-H-L. So, kajal is a dark substance. Wherever you apply it, it will spoil that particular place. If you put kajal on the wall is spoiled. If you put kajal on the paper is spoiled. If you put kajal anywhere, that particular place gets spoiled. But if kajal is applied in one place, that is in the beautiful eye of doe-eyed ladies, then those beautiful eyes turn out to be even more beautiful. Similarly, my explanations may be as useless as kajal, but the writings of the previous acharyas are like the beautiful eyes of doe-eyed ladies. So I am applying my kajal to the writings of the previous acharyas. By this, their writings will turn out to be even more beautiful, dear devotees. So with this confidence, I can reassure myself that we can speak something about Sri Rupa Goswami Sikharini. So dear devotees, we are traversing the river of prema, the river of love. And on this river of prema, there are two embankments, the embankment of union and the embankment of separation. And yesterday, I left you on the embankment of union. Although I am not a good boatsman, but still I tried my best to navigate this river, and I left you on the embankment of union. The pastime that took place was the one where Shri Krishna was lifting Shri Govardhan hill, and this is the pastime that I left you at. But there is something which I was reminded of today, because His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj was speaking about Kurukshetra. So there's a very nice verse about Kurukshetra. I was spontaneously reminded. So I decided to include that verse in this presentation. So I would like to ask a query, dear devotees. Was Shri Radha present in the battlefield of Kurukshetra? when Arjuna is fighting all the Kauravas, was Shri Radha present in that battlefield of Kurukshetra? No. See, all of you are saying no. Should we change this answer into a yes? Yes. It is possible. Because in the devotee poet's heart, everything is possible. Therefore, the devotee poet, they see Shri Radha in all places. And a devotee poet, anonymous devotee poet, composes this verse, beautiful verse. I will sing this verse, and the poet proves Shri Radha in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna Krishna Samyukta Karnam Yatranudhavati Tvannetram tu Kurukshetram Iti Mugdhe Mrishamahe. So on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, there is one person, his name is Arjuna. And Arjuna Krishna Samyukta. Samyukta means he is sitting along with whom? Krishna. And Yatra Anudhavati, he is running behind somebody. Behind whom is he running? Karnam. So he is running behind Karna the warrior. So dear devotees, keep this painting in your heart. Arjuna along with Krishna is chasing Karna. Then the poet says, Twan netram tu Kurukshetra. Oh Radhe, your eyes are also that Kurukshetra. Iti mrishamahe, I feel. So how is that possible? So dear devotees, because in the Sanskrit language, the term Arjuna also refers to the color white. And the term Krishna also refers to the color black. So dear devotees, can you see in Shri Radha's eyes Arjuna along with Krishna? And please see here, chasing behind Karna, the ears. So dear devotees, Srimati Radharani's eyes are Arjuna, the white color, along with the dark black color, chasing after Karna, the ear. And this is the poet's beautiful vision of Kurukshetra, even in Srimati Radharani's eyes, dear devotees. So I hope you are already feeling a little intoxicated. So today we have come to drink. Dear devotees, our only business here is to drink. Let us drink from the ears, because by drinking gradually, we will feel intoxicated. And that is the purpose of coming to a retreat. Why do people retreat? In order to become happy. And if we are not happy at the end of the retreat, then our purpose will not be served. So I am here, dear devotees, to give some happiness to all of you by serving out Shikharinis. And Sri Rupa Goswami has very expertly given these Shikharinis to all of us. We were at this pastime yesterday, where Sri Krishna was lifting Govardhan, and a gopi suddenly played a practical joke on Srimati Radharani, saying that please, disappear from here. Otherwise, if he keeps staring at you, then something may happen. And then Krishna sighed, and they brought her back again. So we are on the embankment of union. This is a very sweet embankment, because on this embankment, the meeting of Srimati Radharani and Krishna takes place. So after this particular pastime, Shri Krishna told Srimati Radharani, would you like to meet me? Srimati Radharani silently said, okay. And then Krishna said, there is a particular spot in Shri Vrindavan. It is called Sanket Sthali. Sanket means a designated spot for meeting. Will you come meet me tomorrow? Of course I'll come meet you. So the spot was designated, the time was designated, but Srimati Radharani is a little hesitant in meeting him for the first time. She is feeling a little hesitant. How can I go meet him for the first time? So she needs some help and support from a friend, a dear Sakhi. So a dear Sakhi, Sri Rupa Goswami mentions the name of the friend is Sri Rupa Manjari. Sri Rupa Goswami says in Padyavali. So Sri Rupa Manjari comes and gives some words of support and encouragement. But these are not only some words of support and encouragement, there are some forceful words. Sri Rupa Manjari is speaking some forceful words to Srimati Radharani, and This is the verse. This verse is in a different meter, Praharshini. I will try to sing it. It's very rare to find tunes for these meters. Fortunately, I found one. I'll try to sing. Please repeat after me. Govinde swayamakaro sarojanetre. प्रेमान्धावरवपुरर्पणं सखित्वम् कार्पण्यं न कुरुदरावलोकदाने कुरुदरावलोकदाने विक्रीते कर्णे किमंकुश विवाद. So Sri Rupa Manjari is saying to Srimati Radharani, Premandha, you are now feeling shy for going and meeting him for the first time. Don't you know you are Premandha, you are already blind in love. Govinde Swayam Akaro, you yourself voluntarily surrendered yourself to him completely. Who told you to go and stand in the first row next to Govardhan Hill where he was lifting it up? You yourself went. So it is whose mistake? It is your mistake. You gave yourself away so easily to him. Premandha, you are blinded in love. Vapur Arpanam, you surrendered your entire body. Now that you have surrendered your entire body, Karpanyam na kuru, don't be miserly, Darava Lokadani, in going and meeting him for one time, because you have already surrendered your entire body. Then Sri Rupa Manjari gives a forceful argument. Vikrite Karini Kim Ankushe Vivada. The elephant was sold. Why argue over the price of the stick of the elephant? So, some of us may find this analogy slightly difficult, so I'll explain in terms of modern analogy. So, somebody may have a home and they may sell their home for a certain price. After selling that home, they may come and say, no, wait, I'll charge extra for the plants in the garden. So, why would you charge extra for the plants in the garden? The plants are a part of the home. So, Vikrite Karini Kim Ankushe Vivada. You already sold the elephant. Don't argue over the price of the elephant stick. So this is what she says. Shri Prahlad Prabhu, kindly read.
My dear love-blinded friend, you already surrendered yourself and your entire body voluntarily to Sri Govinda. Now you should not be miserly in giving him the tiny charity, your darshan, and sweet glances. After selling an elephant, why should one quarrel over selling the elephant goad?
Yes. So, in this way, she gives some confidence to Srimati Radharani to go and meet. But before she goes, Sri Rupa Manjari has some very important piece of advice. Dear devotees, Srimati Radharani, when she goes and meets Krishna for the first time, a technical term is used for her. She is known as Abhisarika. Kindly repeat. Abhisarika is a particular lady who rushes to meet her lover, but she selects a particular time of the fortnight and she selects the dark moon night because it is important for her to not be noticed by anybody. So she selects a dark moon night. And after selecting the dark moon night, she also selects a specific type of clothing which is very much necessary for her. So she selects extremely dark clothing because she will not be seen in the night. So Sri Rupa Manjari gives further advice to Srimati Radharani. This is the verse. This verse is in the meter Vasanta Tilakam, same tune as the verses of Brahma Samhita. Since we know the tune, can we sing together, dear devotees? Yes. Alright, let's sing together. Mandam nidhehi charanau paridhehi nilam vasapidhehi valayavali manchalena Ma jalpa sahasini sharada chandra kanti dam tam shavastavatamamsi samapayanti mandam nidhehi charanau. O Shri Radhe, keep your feet very slowly when you walk. Because if you walk fast, there are these bells on your feet. If they make a noise, your parents will wake up. And if that happens, your abhisar, your desire to meet Sri Krishna will immediately be ruined. Paridhehi neelam, and wear clothes of deep blue color so that you can't be seen in the night. And you have these valayavalim, you have bangles on your hand, and bangles have a nature of making some sound. Vasaha pidhehi, cover your bangles with the end of your sari. Ma jalpa sahasini, and oh bold lady, you are undertaking this bold venture of heading out in the dark moon night. Ma jalpa, don't speak a single word on the way. Because Sri Rupa Manjari knows she has a habit of blabbering out to a bumblebee sometimes. Don't speak a single word on the way. Why? As soon as you open your mouth, your teeth are Sharada Chandrakanti. They defeat the beauty of the moon. And as soon as your teeth will be exposed, Tamam si samapayanti. The darkness of this world will forever be extinguished. So please don't open your mouth until you go and see Krishna personally. So sweet advice by Sri Rupa Manjari. So this lady this Naika is a lady who is in love with her beloved, Srimati Radharani. Her technical name is Abhisarika. So dear devotees, we'll remember these details because these details are very important to understand Sri Rupa Goswami's work. So Abhisarika is when she's going for her first meeting, she selects a particular night. That is the dark moon night or no moon night or the full moon night. On the full moon night, she wears pristine white clothes. And on the no moon night, she wears complete dark clothes. But usually the no moon night is selected. So this is the concept of Abhisarika. Sri Prahlad Prabhu, please read.
O Sri Radha, put your feet softly on the ground as you walk. Cover your armlets and bangles with the end of your cloth. And most importantly, please maintain complete silence on the pathway. Else if you open your mouth, then your moonbeam-like radiant teeth will end the darkness of the world.
So dear devotees, in this way she goes and meets Sri Krishna for the first time. So we are on the embankment of union. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very happy. Because as I said, we are not speaking this poetry for our own enjoyment. We are dedicating all the happiness in the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it is for the pleasure of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that all this poetry is being sung. This is to ensure that no feeling of personal material gratification enters into the process of relishing poetry. So although we experience happiness, so there is something which every Vaishnav should do with happiness. If a Vaishnav ever gets some happiness in their life, they should immediately distribute it. This is the duty of a Vaishnav. And if a Vaishnav ever gets some sadness in their life, they should keep it for themselves. So a Vaishnav is somebody who tries to distribute any happiness that they have. Because when happiness is distributed, that happiness replicates. And a Vaishnav keeps all the sadness for themselves and doesn't want to give it to somebody else. A Vaishnav shares sadness only with the dearmost sajatiya, sahridaya, one who is very dear to them. But happiness freely give to everyone and anyone who is eligible. Now, Srimati Radharani is successful in meeting Sri Krishna. But our Sri Krishna doesn't have the same good luck with him always. So Srimati Radharani that night she told Sri Krishna, I have come to meet you tonight and we are just introduced. Will you do something for me? Yes. Tomorrow night, will you come outside my home? Sure. Because tomorrow is not no moon. Tomorrow there will be moon. So tomorrow night will you come outside my home? Of course I'll come. And will you call me? Sure, I'll call you. In the middle of the night? Yes. But Krishna had a doubt. How will I call you? Should I call your name? No, no, no. If you call my name, then people will know that somebody is outside the gates. So what should I do? So she said, when you come outside, make the sound of a cuckoo. So our cuckoo said, okay. Tomorrow night I will come and I will make the sound of a cuckoo and I will call you. So dear devotees, this is the first cuckoo who is making noises at night. So usually you won't hear cuckoos at night, but our transcendental cuckoo came the next night and he is outside the gates of Srimati Radharani's home. And Sri Rupa Goswami then composes a beautiful verse specifying what happened after that. So dear devotees, this verse is in the meter Shardula Vikriditam, same tune as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. So all of us know this tune. Can we sing together, dear devotees? Sanketi krita kokhiladini nadam kamsa dvisha kurvato dvaronmochana lola shankha valaya kwanam muhu shrinvata keyam keyamiti pragalbha jarati vakye nadunatmano radha prangana kona koli vitapi krode gata sharvari. So our cuckoo arrived. Sanketi krita, he is making those indicatory sounds. Coo. In the middle of the night, the cuckoo made a noise. Rupa Goswami doesn't spare a single opportunity to cast a sarcastic comment. Kamsa dvisha kurvato. The enemy of Kamsa. Just see what he is reduced to in Sri Vrindavan. Just see the dilemma of the enemy of Kamsa in Sri Vrindavan. In front of Kamsa, he is making loud proclamations. And in Vrindavan, he is afraid of being caught like this. So this happens only in Sri Vrindavan, dear devotees. God develops jelly feet in Sri Vrindavan. Nowhere outside. So our enemy of Kamsa was reduced to making the sounds of a cuckoo in the night. Srimati Radharani understood that the cuckoo has arrived. So she got up. And Dwaron Mochana, she went to open the doors. Lola Shankha Valaya, she forgot that she had some, bells in her feet, ankle bells. Suddenly there was a slight noise. And in the home of Srimati Radharani, her grandmother is a very old lady who's frustrated in her life, dear devotees. So, Muhu Shrinvata, she heard. Keyam Keyamiti. I am speaking very softly. But that old lady said, Keyam Keyam, who is there? Pragal Bhajarati. She's a very bold lady. Vakyena, this noise was so strong, it reached the cuckoo outside. Dunatmano, his heart sunk at that moment. Oh no. And what happened thereafter? Our cuckoo thought, maybe after some time the old lady will go back to sleep. And Sri Radha will come out. So Radha Prangana, in the courtyard of Radha, Kona, in one corner, Koli Vitapi, there was a big badari tree. And under that tree, our Sri Krishna kept waiting throughout the night. Dear devotees, could not attain success. So dear devotees, God failed in his attempts at love only in one place in this universe. And which place is that, dear devotees? Sri Vrindavan. So this is Bhagavan's failure. And it can only be recorded by somebody who is very close to Sri Bhagavan. Somebody who knows God's failures. Philosophically, it is impossible for God to fail. But it is only the Gaudiya Vaishnava Bhagavan who fails, dear devotees. It is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Krishna who fails from time to time. His attempts are frustrated as he tries to attain the loving company of Srimati Radharani. And all this happens for generating so many mellows in the hearts of the devotees. So, for the pleasure of all the devotees, Krishna carries out his various pastimes, and the devotees also carry out various pastimes for the pleasure of Sri Krishna. So this is the translation of the verse. Sri Prahlad Prabhu, kindly read.
As he began to imitate a cuckoo's voice in order to indicate Radha to come out and meet him, she heard the call and walked towards the door to open it. The tinkling sounds of her anklet bells was heard by the old lady, who shouted, "Who's there? Who's there?" Hearing these bold words, our enemy of Kamsa became dejected at heart and spent the entire night hiding in a corner under a budgery tree in Radha's courtyard.
Wow. So dear devotees, which Bhagavan do all of you want to fall in love with? The all-perfect Bhagavan who never makes a mistake? Or do you want to fall in love with that Bhagavan who is an abode of all the transcendental mistakes? Which Bhagavan do you want in your life? Second one. So all of you are therefore, Sri Rupa Goswami's chosen devotees. All of you are here today by Sri Rupa Goswami's mercy. He understood all of you from all of your previous lives. All of you never desired a perfect Bhagavan. None of you desired a perfect Bhagavan. Therefore, Sri Rupa Goswami chose all of you to become a Gaudiya Vaishnava. We are here because of Sri Rupa Goswami's mercy, which was manifest in the form of his near and dear associate Srila Prabhupada. So, all glories to Sri Rupa Goswami, who made the imperfect Bhagavan accessible to all of us. Otherwise, we would have no idea, because we would be saying, Ugram Viram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham Nrisimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityum Namamyaham. That is also Bhagavan. And we respect that Bhagavan, but from a distance. We want this Bhagavan, who is repeatedly making mistakes in Sri Vrindavan. So we want that faulty Bhagavan to appear in our hearts. And therefore, we love Sri Rupa Goswami's poetry. So dear devotees, we are on the embankment of union, but we can't stay on this embankment forever. Now, like a boatman, I will take you to the other embankment. So we will go back to the embankment of separation. Now there is the second stage of separation which occurs. The technical name of this stage of separation is, please repeat after me, Mana. So Man in English is roughly translated as sulkiness. But we will get an elaborate definition of Man from Srila Prabhupada himself. So Srila Prabhupada defines what is Man. In his purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita, he is defining what is Man. So kindly repeat after me. Dampatyor bhava ekatra satorapyanuraktayo swabhishtashlesha vikshadi Nirodhi mana uchyate. So sulkiness means both are present right in front of each other. But because they are angry over a certain issue, one of them doesn't want to look at the other person. So both of them are in the same place. But vikshadi nirodhi, they don't want to look at each other. Looking, speaking, or any other interactions are not possible, because there is sulkiness in the relationship. This mana is technically a stage of separation, because union is only there when they are freely able to speak and interact with each other. So mana is the second stage of separation, as Srila Prabhupada has defined in his purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sri Prahlad Prabhu, kindly read.
Man is a word used to indicate the mood of the lover and the beloved, experienced whether they are in one place or in different places. This mood obstructs their looking at each other and embracing each other, despite the fact that they are attached to each other.
Yeah, so there is immense attachment in the heart. But, somewhere the transcendental ego has become hurt, right? And for this reason, man has occurred. And Srimati Radha, this man is the exclusive copyright of Srimati Radharani. She is the one who gets angry, and it is Shri Krishna who has to go, sometimes even fall at her feet, in order to convince her. So therefore, she is the actual queen of Shri Vrindavan. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was asked once, who are the Gaudiya Vaishnavas? So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur replied, actually we are worshippers of Shakti. We are not actually worshippers of Vishnu. We are worshippers of Shakti. Shakti means the Hladini potency, or Srimati Radharani, the internal potency of Shri Krishna. Primarily, we are the worshippers of Srimati Radharani. And we like Krishna because she likes him. Like this, our main reason for liking Krishna is because she is in love with him. So this is our primary reason for being attached to Shri Krishna. But this is a very internal secret that he revealed. So we Gaudiya Vaishnavas are very biased towards Srimati Radharani. So please, there is no unbiasedness here, all right? All of us, those who want to be Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they should be extremely biased towards Srimati Radharani. We are very biased towards her. We always want to take sides with her. We want to empathize with her on each and every occasion. That is why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is being consoled by Sri Rupa Goswami and the other acharyas. So, a beautiful example of man occurred originally in the spiritual world. Dear devotees, every year in Kartik we celebrate Damodar Leela, and after we sing the Damodar Ashtakam, we say Jai Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radhe, and we are showing the lamp to Yashoda Damodar. So when I saw this, I thought there is something, out of place. I am showing the lamp and I am saying Jai Radha Damodar. So what's going on here? So then later I happened to come across a very rare work which was mentioned by Sri Jiva Goswami in his Radha Krishna Archan Deepika. I looked it up and I found a very rare verse which was quoted by Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami. This verse describes that the original Damodar Leela took place in the spiritual world. So this Damodar Leela is described by Sri Jiva Goswami in his Radha Krishna Archan Deepika. This is the verse. Same meter as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. So let's sing together, dear devotees, like drunkards. Sanketavasare chute pranayata samrabdhaya radhaya prarabhya brukutim hiranyarashana damna nibadhodaram kartikyam janani kritotsavavara prastavana purvakam chatubi prathayantamatma pulakam dhyayem damodaram. Sanket, she had called him tomorrow in the evening, come at this place at this time. So our Krishna was running on Indian Standard Time that day. 2 hours late. Sometimes people ask me, why is everything in India so late? So I say, evam parampara praptam. This confidential knowledge was received in disciplic succession, dear devotees. So, Sanketa vasare chute. So he missed the opportunity to meet her. He was 2 hours late. She was still waiting, but her mood had completely changed by that point of time. When he came running, samrabdhaya radhaya, she was angry. And how did she express her anger? Prarabhya bhrukutim, she raised her eyebrow first at him. And then Hiranya Rashana, she took her golden girdle belt and there was a tree nearby, Damna Nibaddodar. She tied him up. Now wait here for 5 hours. I will come back. Our Bhagavan started shaking, our enemy of Kamsa started shaking in Sri Vrindavan and started praying to her. Kartikyam Janani. Oh, please try to understand. It is Kartik month, and in Kartik month we celebrate a big festival, Govardhan Puja, Indra Puja, and my mother had given me so many tasks to complete. So I got late, please forgive me. Chatubi, and you're very kind. Why are you acting in this way? With folded hands. When he said like that, Atta Pulakam, his hair stood on end. Dhyayema Damodaram, and we meditate upon that Damodar, who was thus bound up by Srimati Radharani in the spiritual world in this way, dear devotees. Shri Radha Damodar Ji ki jai. So this is the original pastime of binding up of Shri Krishna, which took place in the spiritual world. After this, Shri Krishna said, I am very happy with you, Srimati Radharani. I am very happy. I wanted you to become angry, actually. I wanted to see that anger in your eyes. And you did exactly what I wanted. I am very happy today. This name of mine, Damodar, Dam Udare Yasya, rope is around whose stomach, is Damodar. So, this name of mine, I like very much. I will popularize this name in all the universes. But since our pastime is very confidential, in all the universes I will execute this pastime for the general audience with Mother Yashoda. But the Gaudiya Vaishnavas understand that this pastime originally took place in the spiritual world with Srimati Radharani. Therefore, Jai Radha Damodar. So this is the original secret of Sri Sri Radha Damodar. If we go to Sri Radha Damodar temple in the month of Kartik, the pujaris say, no, we don't do it, but secretly what they do is they tie a rope from Srimati Radharani's waist belt to Sri Krishna's waist belt. So maybe if they are given some encouragement, then they may show, all right? So this is the translation, Prabhu. Kindly read.
Having missed a rendezvous with Srimati Radhika, he was lovingly frowned upon by her and was subsequently bound up by her golden girdle. He then proceeded to offer an explanation that his delay was due to the great festival of Kartik month that was being celebrated by his mother, and meditate on him, who thus became known as Damodar, who in this bound condition offered many excellent words of flattery with direct goosebumps on his body.
Yeah, so Shri Krishna very much loved that Srimati Radharani tied him up and made him completely helpless. His hair stood on end at that point of time, and this is our Damodar that we meditate upon in the month of Kartik. I tried to find a painting for this, and there is no accurate painting. If there are devotee artists listening, there is an opportunity to create a painting. There is an approximate painting which I found. There's only one painting somebody had made some time ago. This is the only painting that I have been able to find of this particular pastime. So devotee artists around the world, there is immense scope. As I said, we are Hare Krishna movement. Let's keep the movement flowing by creating newer and newer forms of art, literature and poetry in each and every generation. In this way, we can conquer the entire world. Srila Prabhupada, in his time, he asked all the artists to create windows to the spiritual world. And these paintings are used so commonly nowadays. They became so popular in the entire world. I was seeing that Mahabharat serial, they also took Srila Prabhupada's paintings. I saw that Shri Krishna serial, they also took Srila Prabhupada, BBT's paintings. Everybody is using BBT paintings because they were so nice products of art, and they were very helpful in conquering the entire world with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message. Many people took to Sri Krishna consciousness simply by looking at the Krishna book. So it's very important to have this wonderful art in each and every generation, because philosophy can only take you so far, but art can conquer those places where philosophy cannot conquer, dear devotees. So Srimati Radharani Another time when her pastimes were going on in this world, Bhauma Vrindavan, she again asked Krishna to turn up at a particular time, and Krishna again was late. So at that time she walked away and she went into a place which is known as Radha Mohan Mandira. This is a secret kunja in Sri Vrindavan where she goes especially when she does not want anyone to find her. Now our Krishna also has informants on his side, who tell him where she has gone. So Krishna asked some informants as to which direction she has gone. So they told him she has gone to that place, and it is called Mohan Mandir. Original name is Mohan Mandir. We call it Radha Mohan Mandir because we want Srimati Radharani's name to always be before Shri Krishna's name. So she had gone to Radha Mohan Mandir, and our Shri Krishna came running there and he knocked on the door. Please open the door. From inside there was a voice. If you desire your benefit, then immediately go away. I'm very sorry. Please. He kept knocking on the door for a long time. There was no answer. Finally, he sat outside. Srimati Radharani knows that he is sitting outside and her heart is not so hard. So she knows he is making mistake from time to time. I fell in love with such a person who is a big mistake maker. What to do? It's my fate. So she sent Lalita Sakhi outside to give him a strong message. Lalita Sakhi opens the door just so much that she can come outside, because he will immediately try to peek in. So she comes outside, closes the door, and she says, there is a message for you. Hear this message and quickly walk back to your home. All right? This is one message for you. Dear devotees, would you like to repeat that message? This verse is in a unique meter called as Arya. Arya meters are very difficult to sing because Arya are composed on a different principle of metrical Sanskrit. I will still try to sing it. Dear devotees, kindly repeat after me. Sa sarvathaiva rakta. Sa sarvathaiva rakta. Ragam gunjeva no mukhe vahate. Ragam gunjeva no mukhe vahate. Vachanapatostava ragah. Vachanapatostava ragah. Kevalamasye shukasyeva. Kevalamasye shukasyeva. So hear her message clearly. Sa sarvathaiva rakta. You are taking her for granted each and every day now. Our Sakhi, she is very simple-hearted. And what do you do with a simple-hearted girl? You are taking undue advantage of her simple-heartedness. Isn't it? Sa sarvathaiva rakta. She is completely drenched in the color of your love. Dear devotees, what is the color of love? Red. The color of love is red. Deep red. Sa sarvathaiva rakta. She is completely rakta. One meaning of rakta is drenched. One meaning of rakta is reddish. She is completely drenched in reddish color of love. Ragam, but she has only one problem. Gunjeva. Her love is like the gunja seed. The gunja seed has red everywhere except on the mouth. How many of you have seen a gunja seed? Please, yeah. Those of you who have not seen a gunja seed, don't worry. We have PowerPoint with us. So her love is like a gunja seed. A gunja seed is completely reddish. On the mouth it is blackish. What she is meaning to say, Dhwani, love is in her entire body. Her only problem is out of shyness she doesn't express it so frequently. And that is why you are taking advantage of her, isn't it? Huh? Vachana patos and you word juggler. Huh? Tava raga, your love, kevalam asya is only on the mouth, nowhere else in the body. Shuka seva, like a parrot's beak, is only reddish on the mouth. Parrot is reddish nowhere else on the body. So this is your love. You are only paying lip service by saying, I love you, please open the door. Huh? Stop this lip service. When you are serious about love, come back. All right? Now go from here. So dear devotees, this is the translation. Sri Prahlad Prabhu, please read.
Shri Radha is completely drenched in the brilliant red color of love, exactly like a Gudra seed. O expert world juggler Krishna, her love is not like your love, which remains only on the mouth, exactly like the red color of the parrot's beak.
Oh Krishna. You see, Bhagavan is again unsuccessful in his attempts on love. And Krishna hangs his head down and his feet are very heavy. He is thinking about Srimati Radharani and the mistake that he has committed. He starts walking back with heavy feet towards Nanda Maharaj's home, his home. On the way back, our Bhagavan commits his second biggest blunder of the day. Dear devotees, would you like to hear about him? So Bhagavan is walking towards his home and suddenly something happens. Sri Rupa Gosvami quotes Sri Bilva Mangal Thakur. This verse was originally penned down by Sri Bilva Mangal Thakur. So this is the verse. This verse is in the same meter, Shardul Vikriditam, same as Shad Goswami Ashtakam. Dear devotees, let's sing together. Radha Mohan Mandiradupagatas Chandravali Muchivan Radhe Kshemamiheti Tasya Vachanam Shrutva Chandravali Kamsa Kshemamaye Vimugdha Hridaye Kamsa Kvadrishtastvaya Radha Kveti Vilajjito Natamukha Smero Hari Patuva. Radha Mohan Mandirat Upagatas. He is returning with heavy feet from Radha Mohan Mandira. In his mind, he is thinking, I made a terrible mistake. I should have not let Srimati Radharani down. Suddenly on the way, he sees Chandravali. Chandravalim Uchivan. And he says something to Chandravali. What does he say? Radhe Kshema Miheti. Oh Radhe, is everything okay with you? There is a separate technical name for this major blunder. Sri Rupa Goswami calls it, please repeat after me, Gotras Khalanam. You missed the name itself. Oh Radhe, is everything okay with you? Tasya Vachanam, his words, Shrutva, hearing his words. Chandravali also, Acha. Kamsa Kshema Maye. Yes, Maharaj comes, everything is okay. How are you? Is everything okay in your kingdom, Maharaj comes? Aye Vimugdha Hridaye. Oh foolish girl. Kamsa Kvadrishtastvaya. Where did you see Kamsa? Radha Kveti. Where you saw Radha? Huh? There I saw Kamsa. Oh my goodness. Vilajjito, he's ashamed. Natamukha, he bends down his head, but still Smero, he's smiling. There is a dhvani here. After making such a big blunder, he is still smiling. What does that tell you about the character of Shri Krishna? Shri Prahlad Prabhu, whose devotee are you? That was a secret, huh? You are a member of International Society for... Oh. Have you heard about the exalted character of your leader? After making such a big mistake, Gotras Khalanam, the best thing to do is to keep quiet and bow your head down. What is the need to laugh like this? What does that prove?
You're not sorry.
So in my childhood, when I used to commit a mistake, I used to like to eat chalk. Some of you, there used to be chalk sticks. So I used to like to eat chalk. So my mother caught me once eating chalk. So my mother said to me, Harshad, my civil Harshad, don't eat chalk. Okay. In my cupboard. So I closed the door and I take out some chalk and I eat it. Next day, my mother finds out that I am again eating chalk. So she shows me a stick. Next time you eat, there will be chastisement. I said, okay. And I'm still laughing. And next day, I again ate. And I again got caught. And as you might have imagined, something happened, But even after I was chastised, I was still smiling. So my mother said, it's a famous phrase in Maharashtra, Nirlajjah sada sukhi. A shameless person is always happy. So my mother said, Nirlajjah sada sukhi. Shameless person is always happy. So she said as a chastisement to me, I took it literally. I said, if I want to become happy in life, I should learn how to become nirlajja, shameless. So the dhwani is, nirlajjah sada sukhi. He knows, that in Vrindavan I will manage to convince all of them somehow. I have many tricks up my sleeve and I will convince all of them. So this is what happened, dear devotees, with Chandravali. And on a single night, both Srimati Radharani and Chandravali are successfully, put into man. Here is the translation, Prabhu.
On a particular day, as Krishna returned from a secret place named Radha Mohana Mandir, he found Chandravali on the pathway. He suddenly said, "Oh Radhe, is everything okay with you?" Chandravali too replied back, "Yes, Maharaj Kamsa, how about you?" Surprised by this, Krishna replied, "Where did you see Kamsa?" To this she replied, "You tell me where you saw Radha." Realizing his mistake, he bent down his head and smiled. May that smiling Hari protect you all.
Now I don't need to tell you how smiling Hari should protect you all. Yesterday I said how smiling Hari protects, how the Hari who's lifting Govardhan, how his breathing will protect. I said yesterday, those of us who were not present yesterday, I'll quickly say, many times it is said in Shastra, may Hari's arms protect you, may Hari's smile protect you. So may it protect you when you most need it in your life. At the final moment of death, when we are breathing our last, may this image of Sri Hari smiling shamelessly protect all of you and rescue you from the greatest danger of the material world, that is repeated birth and death in samsara. And may it bestow eternal service to Sri Vrindavan Dham. So, our Krishna comes back to Nanda Bhavan, and Krishna is thinking, how do I manage to placate the man of Srimati Radharani? So Krishna comes up with a beautiful idea that night. Krishna goes to Nanda Maharaj and says, Baba, I want something from you. Nanda Maharaj says, yes, what do you want? Whatever you want, Krishna. So, Baba, every morning you invite many people for, morning breakfast. Since many days I am thinking I have not seen Maharaj Vrishabhanu for breakfast. Can you invite Maharaj Vrishabhanu for breakfast tomorrow morning? Sure. With family? Of course. So that night a messenger was sent to the bhavan, to the palace of Maharaj Vrishabhanu. And the messenger said, Nanda Maharaj would be very honored to have your presence tomorrow morning. There will be music and there will be nice food, and we will be, please kindly come with family. Special request, please come with family. So Maharaj Vrishabhanu said to Kirtida Devi and Srimati Radharani, tomorrow morning we have been invited to Nanda Maharaj's bhavan. Okay, we have to go for breakfast. So Srimati Radharani understood, Acha. So now it's down to these tricks. When you can't speak to me directly, you will force me to come to your home. So egoistic, huh? You can't come to me and say sorry, huh? You will invite me to your place to show your, muscle power that, see, I made you come to my home. So next day anyway she came. So dear devotees, we have to draw a painting in our hearts. There is Nanda Bhavan, is a big assembly hall. On one side, Krishna, Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda and Vrajavasis are sitting. On the other side, there is Maharaj Vrishabhanu, Kirtidas Devi, Srimati Radharani, everybody sitting on that side. In between, there are musicians who are playing. And our Krishna here, he sees Srimati Radharani there. He's and she's she is not even looking at him. Srimati Radharani is like this. Suddenly, our Krishna plays a master trick from his sleeve at that point of time. And this is recorded by Sri Rupa Manjari, later compiled into Padyavali, dear devotees. This verse is in the meter Sikharini, same tune as Jagannath Ashtakam. This tune is slightly difficult to sing, but we can sing together, dear devotees. Alright? So this is one of the final verses for today, because I want to leave you on the embankment of union. I won't leave you on the embankment of separation, I'll leave you on the embankment of union. So this is one of the final verses for today. After this we'll have one more verse and then we'll conclude for today. Let's sing, dear devotees. Shiraschayam Krishna Swayamakrita Radha Charanayor Bhujavalli Chayamiyamapita Diya Pratikritau Iti krida kope nibritamubayora prasadau jiyastamapi guru samaksham sthitavato. So suddenly Krishna is waving his hands. She is not looking at him. Krishna plays his master trick. They are sitting here. Maharaj Vrishabhanu, Srimati Radharani is sitting there. Through the windows, the sunlight is coming. Shiraschayam Krishna. Krishna takes the shadow of his head. Swayam Akrita and places it. Radha Charanayor at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So he takes the shadow of his head and places that shadow in the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani sees there is a shadow coming towards my feet. She tries to go away, but there is a wall behind. The shadow is going to win. Finally, that shadow manages to touch Srimati Radharani's feet. What does she do? Bhujavalli Chayam. She takes the shadow of her two hands. Iyamapita Diya. And she places it upon the shadow of the head of Sri Krishna, dear devotees. What a brilliant personality, he managed to do this. Iti krida kope. She started laughing because he is doing these tricks. So she understands that it was krida kopa, it was joyous sulkiness. She was not really angry. Because there is no separation between Srimati Radharani and Krishna in the spiritual world actually. She doesn't become so angry that she will say, now I'll leave you forever, go find somebody else. She does say that. She does say that sometimes. But she doesn't mean it. Sri Jayadev Goswami has written beautiful songs. Rajani Janita Guru Jagar Ragam, Yahi Madhava, Ma Vada Kaitava Vadam. Go away, Madhav, and speak your lies to somebody else. So she does say that, but she doesn't mean it eventually. So Krida Kopa, all of this sulkiness was simply out of play. Nibritam, both of them are now happy. Apyanunaya prasadau jiya, Sri Rupa Goswami says, all glories to that act of asking forgiveness, anunaya, and the act of bestowing forgiveness, prasadau. Why all glories? Because Guru Samaksham Sthitavatau, both of them are situated between parents. Dear devotees, those of you who are married, sometimes you might have experienced sulkiness in the relationship. Has anybody managed to ask for forgiveness in front of their parents? No. But our son of Nanda Maharaj managed to ask forgiveness in front of both parents that day, even without both parents realizing it, dear devotee. So in this way, all glories to that act of asking forgiveness, all glories to that act of bestowing forgiveness, because it was carried out in front of parents and the parents didn't even come to know about it. There are unlimited tricks in his sleeve, dear devotees, therefore we love him so much. No matter what big offense he commits, later he makes up for it. And therefore we love our Bhagavan so much. Shri Prahlad Prabhu, here is the translation.
In order to placate Sri Radha, Krishna voluntarily placed the shadow of his head at her feet. She too put the shadow of both her palms on the shadow of the head of Krishna. In this way, both of them, seated in front of their seniors, pacified each other and relieved their sulkiness. May this act of placation by Krishna and loving forgiveness by Sri Radha be victorious in all the world.
So there is no painting for this, no exact painting for this, but there is an approximate painting. Dear devotees, please keep this painting in your hearts. And I hope that this painting bestows immense benefit to you when you most need it. At the final moment when you most need it, let this painting spontaneously occur on the pathways of your heart, dear devotees. Absorb the painting within your hearts, dear devotees. Keep it always with you. Hang it on the walls of your heart. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna, who was begging forgiveness in front of Srimati Radharani. All right, dear devotees, do you feel drunk enough? Please keep drinking, always. Drinking is not only for an Easter weekend, all right? Drinking should be forever. So we should have a permanent culture of drinking every day like this. In the spiritual world, what do we have to do? Once we follow the 4 regulative principles and everything is done, we attain the spiritual world. In spiritual world, Sri Prahlad Prabhu, what do you do? Drink little, okay? In the spiritual world, there is a transcendental drunkard, who is always, present in front of us and who's always willing to give us transcendental joy. Who is the biggest transcendental drunkard of the spiritual world, dear devotees? Sri Balaram. Dear devotees, this is a very wonderful verse Sri Rupa Goswami composes. Sri Balaram is drunk in the spiritual world. I wanted to have a verse about drinking because it's the theme of the Sikharini. So there is Sri Balaram in the spiritual world is a transcendental drunkard. Does anybody know which drink Sri Balaram enjoys? Varuni. After drinking Varuni, it is made out of honey. After drinking Varuni, Balaram loses, transcendental control of his activities. And Sri Rupa Goswami records this in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Dear devotees, would you like to get intoxicated with Sri Balaram? Alright, so this is a verse from the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Sri Balaram is intoxicated and he is speaking out something. This verse is in a unique meter, Prithvi. I will try to sing this meter. Kindly repeat after me. The translation, most of us might have seen the translation, but the fun is in the original, dear devotees. So this is the verse. Bhabha Brahmati Medini Lalambate Chandrama. Bhabha Brahmati Medini Lalambate Chandrama. Once more. Bhabha Brahmati Medini Lalambate Chandrama. Please sing. Bhabha Medini lalambate chandrama. Krishna vavadadrutam hahasanti kim vrishnaya. Krishna vavadadrutam hahasanti kim vrishnaya. Shishidu muncha me papapan patra sthitam. 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 Madaskhalitamalapan haladhara shriyam vah kriya. So, Shri Balaram has drunk Varoni and he is saying something to Krishna. Now, if I translate this in English literally, then I have to, translate it in a unique way. Yesterday I was saying to His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj, sometimes translations are good, but better than translation is transcreation into another language. You have to transcreate the verse in another language in order to transport the experience of the verse into another language. Therefore, I have tried to transcreate the verse into the English language. So, here is the transcreation or translation of the verse in the English language. I will try to see. Bha 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 Brahmati Medini. Oh Krishna, the earth is spinning around. La 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 lambate chandrama. The moon is hanging upside down. Krishna, oh Krishna, vavadadrutam. Speak loudly. Ha 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 santi kim vrishnayah. Are the Vrishnis laughing on me? Shishi muncha me papapapana patra sthitam. Give me wine in my drinking vessel. Madas khalitamalapan haladhara. May Lord Haladhara, who was thus faltering in intoxication, Shriyam vah kriyat, bestow auspiciousness on all you drunkards today, dear devotees. So this is a spiritual world, alright? This is what we were supposed to do in the spiritual world. So, God's kingdom should be brought upon earth, as all religions say, alright? As on earth as it is in heaven, right? So all religions attempt to bring Bhagavan's kingdom on planet earth, and therefore the Gaudiya Vaishnavas try to recreate the spiritual world even when they are present on planet earth. And dear devotees, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most merciful. He has bought this wonderful gift for all of us. Please don't keep yourself purposely away from the poetry of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath. For many years, I wanted to read the poetry of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath. And I had also read that qualification which was specified yesterday, where Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, after 15 or 20 years, somebody should know these topics. But when I attempted to read these topics, there were some individuals who would come to me and say, are you qualified? So I said, how can I ever give a yes to that answer? Even the previous acharyas have not said a yes to that answer. How can I give a yes, a resounding yes to an answer? Because as soon as I say yes, you will say you are proud and therefore you are unqualified. So I am unqualified, but the acharyas have said that one must make an attempt after certain time to read. Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very upset with individuals who, although Vaishnavas, would try to obstruct the progress of other Vaishnavas who are trying to advance. In Sri Krishna Samhita, Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur spoke some very difficult words for such individuals who are trying to act like policemen and trying to prevent others from relishing Sri Krishna Leela. And yesterday, His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj quoted about institutions. He said that institutions are a necessary evil. That was from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's article named Putna. From that article, this statement was quoted. In that very article, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, institutions are restrictive mechanisms in order to keep a check on the flow of worldliness within the jivas. But organized religions often do not have an idea of the unchecked, eternal, spiritual flow of love that takes place in the spiritual world. So often we may be discouraged by others who tell us, you are not qualified. Sri Prahlad, are you reading? You are not qualified. So, Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur called such a devotee using some very harsh terms. Sri Prahlad Prabhu, kindly read what Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in the Krishna Samhita. Oh, I'm sorry. The internet connection is lost for some reason. I will connect it again. So I will read it out. Till that time, Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur says something. The previous acharyas of the authorized sampradayas have written many literature which people with gross discrimination neither understand nor allow others to see. Then Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur uses a very harsh term. He says, as like devotees who are simply interested in regulative principles and under the control of gross discrimination are unable to attain a higher platform. He says Vaishnava principles are so unlimitedly exalted that somebody who remains absorbed simply in regulative principles without endeavoring to understand the science of Raganuga Bhakti is compared to ordinary fruitive workers. Therefore, unless we kill the ass demon Dhenukasur, which is within our hearts, it will be impossible for us to advance on the path of Shri Krishna Bhakti. So in this way, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he mentions this. Sri Prahlad Prabhu, now I will show this again. You kindly repeat it so that it has greater emphasis. Please read, Prabhuji.
Previous acharyas of the authorized sampradayas have written many spiritual literatures which people with the gross discrimination neither understand nor allow others to see. Ass-like devotees who are simply interested in the regulative principles and under the control of gross discrimination are unable to attain a higher platform. Vaishnava principles are so unlimitedly exalted that those who simply remain entangled in the regulative process without endeavoring to understand the science of attachment, raga, are comparable to ordinary fruitive workers. Therefore, until the ass Dhenukasura is killed, one cannot advance in the science of Vaishnavism.
Right. So, he is referring to the pastime of Dhenukasur. All the boys along with Krishna and Balaram, they went to the forest of Talavan, and the fruits, there is a secret behind this pastime. The fruits are very high on the tree. Now it is called as Talafal. What is it called as? Talafal. In Sanskrit, the alphabet L and R, L and R are interchangeable. So what is Talafal is actually Tarafal. What is it? Tara refers to the Vedas, and Phala is the condensed fruit of all the Vedas, which is Shri Krishna Prem. Now this Shri Krishna Prem is Tarafal. It is the fruit of all the Vedas, Talafal. But it is very high and inaccessible to the boys. Therefore the boys request Adi Guru Shri Balram to shake the tree of Vedic literature and bring down Tarafal, the ripened fruit of Vedic conclusions, Shri Krishna Prem accessible to everybody. But one person gets angry. You know who, alright? Sri Bhakti Vinod Thakur has mentioned that person. So if we ever come across such a person, we should never label them. Please don't say, oh, you are Dhenukasur. No, no. This purport is not written so that we can make a new label. In our society, we have to reduce the labels as much as possible. So, but we understand when we see such an individual, we understand that this person is exhibiting the tendency of Dhenukasur. So, externally we keep quiet and not say anything. Internally we keep progressing on our desired path of progress. So, maunam sarvartha sadhanam. Keeping quiet can achieve everything that you want. So, dear devotees, this is for our instruction. I would like to pause here. Thank you very much once again. Yadatra skhalitam kinchid vidvam saha purayantu tat. Yadatra saushthavam kinchid tad guru reva me nahi. Yadatra skhalitam kinchid. If there are any mistakes that I made, obviously it is possible. Definitely. Conditioned soul, 4 defects. But vidvamsah, you are all learned devotees. Purayantu tat. You kindly correct any mistakes. Yadatra saushthavam kinchid. But if you liked anything, even a single verse, a single line, a single word or a single alphabet or half a syllable, please remember Tad Guru Reva. It belongs to my Guru Janas. My Diksha Guru, Sri Srimad Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj, my Shiksha Guru, all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj, all the Vaishnavas, all the God brothers of Srila Prabhupada, all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas of the past, present and future, including all of you, are also my Shiksha Gurus. So it belongs to you. May nahi, it doesn't belong to me. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, we have time, Gaurari Prabhu, time is with you because I am running on Indian Standard Time, alright? Huh? So, you please take care of the time, let me know when we have to pause, okay?
I think I have to stay into the Parampara part-time.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I maybe we can ask Maharaj to or Swayam Bhagwan Maharaj to give some reflection before we begin giving the mic to others.
Hare Krishna, I really thank you very, very much for presenting this very informed journey through the jewels of our tradition. I have had devotees come to me who are artistically minded and literally minded who said, oh good, I always knew there is this depth of poesy and you know, the depth of thought is behind the deed. Yeah, I particularly liked how you explained this last verse, which where the message was, Krishna, you, Radha's love is like the Punja berry, and yours like the carrot, and then how Krishna makes up in this invitation. Thank you very much. I was just as a reflection. Our Krishna Maharaj had put the question into the audience: when is Dharma, put on the second place and Bhakti on the first? And I was thinking that yes, when the Bhakta has to be secretive. He will not talk very directly about what is going on in him. And I believe, please correct me there, Bhajan we should not talk about, our Guru we should not talk about, two others.
We should hide our Japamala.
Japamala, yes.
We should hide our mantra.
Mantra.
We should hide our Guru. So these are a few things.
Yes. Can you? So we are hiding. We are not talking to the world, and there may be an occasion that someone asks us for our deeper realizations. what was the Sanskrit word? Mona?
Maunam
Monam?
Sarvartha Sadhanam.
Finally, I know the sadhanam. Thank you. I was searching for this and not finding it. Sadhanam. And it, how would you translate it? Or transcreate it?
Yeah. Maunam is complete silence.
Yeah.
Sarvartha means all ends, and sadhanam it can achieve. So maunam, silence can achieve all ends.
Thank you very much. Let us give the microphone to Maharaj. Yes, here you are. Will you gently bit?
Thank you so much, Hari Parshad Prabhu. I'm intoxicated, my intelligence is not working. But I just wanted to say that it's been amazing to come and hear from you. Like you just mentioned, at the end we have lived with the message for a long time about being very cautious in approaching these beautiful literatures and this elevated subject matter. And I feel in Vaishnavas like yourself, who hold very high integrity and have very wonderful character and culture, that and very learned and deep, that you are giving us access in a very beautiful way, in a very safe way, in a way that is very chaste to Srila Prabhupada. And as we sit at your feet and hear from you, Jaya Bhagavata Pada Vaishnava standing, that we try to hear from a Vaishnava, then we feel as though we are growing, and we are developing what Srila Prabhupada wanted us to develop in a very beautiful way. So for me, it's been wonderful to hear from you, and I feel growth in this beautiful sangha. Thank you so much.
Thank you. But with you it is reciprocal. Dadati pratigrinati. So first I receive from you in the morning, then I cherish it, then I prepare my presentation, So the morning food that I receive, the nourishment comes out in the afternoon, dear devotees. So it's dadati pratigrinati. I have received a lot from you, Maharaj. The presentation is so thought-provoking in the morning when you were speaking about it, dharma kshetre, kurukshetre. And you made a sentence which struck my mind. You said that the entire Bhagavad Gita is situated in dharma. There's a particular statement, that literal statement I memorized, that the Bhagavad Gita is situated in dharma. And I think Saraswati Devi was sitting on your tongue when you spoke that sentence, Maharaj, because Bhagavad Gita is literally situated in dharma. And there is a reason for that. The first verse of Bhagavad Gita is Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. And the first term of that verse is Dharma. And the first syllable of that is Dhar. Dhar. With the R at the end. And the last verse of Bhagavad Gita is Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. The last word is Mama, the last syllable is Ma. So the first syllable is Dhar and the last syllable is Ma. So the Bhagavad Gita is literally situated in Dharma, dear devotee. So Saraswati Devi spoke through you, Maharaj, in the morning. This is my personal realization. Thank you so much. All right, yeah.
You spoke about this bewildering concept that we should fall in love with this faulty Krishna. And for me, this is very difficult to understand. And but in the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada, he is saying that Krishna on his own, he is not very beautiful. But when he is surrounded with all of the devotees, he's like a green sapphire in the midst of beautiful setting. So can you please say something about how Krishna's devotees is beautifying Krishna?
Yeah, so as I said, Srila Prabhupada himself is a thorough, in and out Gaudiya Vaishnava. So he makes statements like Krishna by himself is not so beautiful. But in the presence of Srimati Radharani and the other gopis, he appears like a brilliant sapphire. So it shows that the biased nature is already there. So bias towards whom? So bias towards Srimati Radharani. And when Srila Prabhupada was exhibiting his childhood pastimes, his father would often ask all the saints who visited their home, the benediction that he would ask is, please bless my son to become a good devotee of Shri Radharani. That is the benediction, because his father also Gaudiya Vaishnava. So please bless my son that he will become a devotee of Srimati Radharani. So you can see that in all the writings of Srila Prabhupada, that there is tremendous bias to be in the paksha, in the side of Srimati Radharani. And we love to be biased like this. We happily agree, we wear it on our sleeves, that we are biased towards Srimati Radharani. This is our, this is the upadhi that we want. And this upadhi Srila Prabhupada very happily displayed in many of his writings, one of which you have kindly shared. So thank you so much. I hope, although Sri Krishna by himself is all beautiful, all attractive, Akhila Rasamrita Murti, that's true. But let's also understand from a philosophical point of view why Krishna is beautiful. And this comes up in the Sandarbhas. Krishna is beautiful because Krishna has a beautiful form. Now, when we see the form of Krishna, like you can see the form of Shri Krishna in a painting, or you can see directly the form of Shri Krishna when Krishna gives you direct darshan. A question is asked by Shri Jiva Goswami. What is that form made out of? What is the chemical composition of the form of Shri Krishna? Let's just put it in that terms. What is Shri Krishna's form made out of? Can we have any answers? Sachidananda. Okay. Those are the characteristics of the form. But what is the form actually made out of? If Krishna today, let's say Gaur Hari Prabhu is resting in the night, suddenly he feels that, there is a presence in the room, he opens his eyes, he says, Shri Krishna is there. So you are seeing Shri Krishna directly in front of your eyes. So Prabhu, what is that form made out of? Rasa. Of course, okay, rasa is a good answer, but we need a more technically accurate answer. Madhurya Roop, that is a adjective given to his form. Okay, grammatically that fits in the category of an adjective. But that Rupa is made out of his Shakti. The form of Krishna, eternal form of Krishna, which is manifest in front of our eyes, is manifest because of his eternal Shakti. In the material world, if you see any object, an object of the material world has a form because that form is made out of material energy. Energy in Sanskrit is known as Shakti. If the Shakti disappears, material Shakti disappears, it will no longer be able to maintain its form and it will disintegrate completely. Similarly, in the spiritual world, all forms are made possible by a Shakti which is known as Swarup Shakti. The Swarup itself is made out of what? Shakti. Therefore, she is known as which Shakti? Swarup Shakti. So, she is the one who manifests the Swarup of Shri Krishna in front of the eyes of the various receivers, devotees. Therefore, she is known as which Shakti? Swarup Shakti. So, this is the meaning of the term Swarup Shakti. Shri Krishna is beautiful because his form is manifested in front of the divine eyes of the sadhus. By which Shakti? Swarup Shakti. Swarup eva Shakti. His form is made out of his eternal transcendental potency. Sri Jiva Goswami then says in the Sandarbhas, there are some transcendentalists who want to perceive the absolute truth, but don't want to perceive his Shaktis. For them, he manifests on their senses without the Shakti, and without his Shakti, he becomes the impersonal Brahman. So, the absolute truth minus spiritual energy minus material energy equal to Brahman. I hope everybody understood. Absolute truth minus spiritual energy minus material energy is equal to whom? Brahman. The absolute truth minus spiritual energy but plus as the controller of material energy, Paramatma. Because Paramatma is mainly seen in which world? Material world. So there are some transcendentalists who want to see the absolute truth as the controller only of material energy. To them he manifests as Paramatma. And the absolute truth plus material energy plus spiritual energy equal to Bhagavan. Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan. This is the simple categorization given in the Bhagavat Sandarbha, in the beginning of the Bhagavat Sandarbha of Sri Jiva Goswami. So philosophically, Krishna is beautiful because his form is manifested by his Shakti. And as I said, Gaudiya Vaishnavas are worshippers of whom? Shakti, Sri Radha. So actually we are Shakti Upaksakas, we are worshippers of Shakti of Sri Bhagavan. So that is why Sri Krishna is beautiful, even from a philosophical point of view. And on top of that, we have bias towards Sri Radha. That is also there. Okay. I hope that satisfies your query. Mataji? Yes, thank you.
I'm still confused, but thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, sometimes some technical subject matters, they have to be heard repeatedly, but I tried my best to explain. Okay. Anybody else? Gaurahari Prabhu, you please keep a watch on the time. Okay. Anybody else would like to ask something? Yes. Oh, we have our Kavayitri, If I remember your name.
I'm not the poet.
Oh, acha, okay. I'm sorry, I confused. So, yeah.
Thank you again for this amazing presentation. I think as long as I'm in this world, you have an audience, so please excuse me.
Thank you.
And I wanted to ask at the beginning, you gave this wonderful metaphor that we have to be like an ocean if we want Krishna's pastimes to really move us and not like a well. Do you have some further thoughts as a tip for us how we can listen like an ocean?
Yeah. So, what is the meaning of being as broad as an ocean and not as narrow as a well? So, in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a statement, because the 11th canto was, the commentaries were written by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. So, they are quoting other purports of Srila Prabhupada and they are quoting the previous acharyas. So, in that there is one quote where it is said that when the Kanishth Adhikari becomes disgusted at his or her level of advancement, that is when the Kanishth Adhikari finally grows out of the tiny well that they are staying in, and then they learn to appreciate that Vaishnavas are manifest in all corners of the world. Because as long as a person is a Kanishth Adhikari, they are only able to appreciate the Vaishnavas who were in their immediate circle. For them, Vaishnavas don't manifest outside their group. For them, Vaishnavas don't manifest outside their sampradaya. So that is the tendency of a Kanishth Adhikari. Then when they grow out of that, because they become disgusted at their own limitations, then they grow into what is known as a Madhyam Adhikari. Then they come to know, oh, there are actually many wonderful Vaishnavas, not only within the sampradaya but outside the sampradaya also. Tomorrow I will be giving a small introduction to one such Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada named a disciple after him, Sri Hari Shori. So we know Srila Prabhupada's disciple, Hari Shori Prabhu, but there is an original commentator. The name came from a commentator, Sanskrit commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam. His name is Sri Hari Shori. So many of us quote his realizations, but his name was forgotten. So in Damodar Leela, when the milk starts boiling, we all know that the milk was boiling because the milk wanted to commit. Like, who said this? So there is a commentator who got one darshan of Krishna in his life, and Krishna ordered him that I will give you all the reasons behind all the activities that I have committed in the 10th canto Vrindavan Leela. Will you write a commentary explaining all the hidden reasons behind my activities? So he ended up writing 4,750 verses the very difficult to decrypt verses in which he has explained the secrets behind Shri Krishna's pastimes. When the milk starts boiling, this is one reason he says Krishna is the milk is thinking. So devotees ask, how can the milk think? Because in the spiritual world, everything can have a mind of its own. Because in Damodar Ashtakam, in the final verse, we say, Namaste estu damne, O rope, obeisances to you. Why pay obeisances to the rope if the rope is a dead entity? But in the spiritual world, we have all Chinmaya. Every object has a mind of its own. Therefore, the milk was thinking that if Sri Krishna is drinking Mother Yashoda's breast milk, then what is the use of my life? That's one reason he gives. Another reason he gives, this milk was seeing the progress attained by that milk. And it is the tendency in the world that one god brother becomes jealous of the progress of another god brother. Therefore, as soon as this god brother saw the progress attained by that god brother, he started burning out of envy. So for every particular pastime, he has given many reasons. Yesterday, Maharaj was speaking from Putana's Leela. And the gopis mark after the Krishna is saved from Putana, they put tilak of cow dung upon his body. Om Keshavaya Nama, Govindaya Nama. Sri Hari Suri says, hence proved, Krishna, that between you and your name is stronger. Because when it comes to protecting even you, your holy name is used. So, when such realizations are given by devotee poets, if Sri Rupa Goswami would have heard such realization, he would have said, sadhu, sadhu, wonderful. So, we have to have this tendency of being like an ocean. An ocean is a reservoir of rivers that come from all directions. A well is a single source of water. Therefore, it is important to be broad-minded like the ocean. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to appreciate poetry even from those who were not in any sampradaya. Sometimes we say, Sampradaya vihinaye mantraste nishphala mata. Those who are not in one of the four sampradayas, their mantras are useless. All right. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted so many songs from Sri Jaidev Goswami, who is not from any of the four sampradayas. From Sri Chandidas, who is not from any of the four sampradayas. From Sri Vidyapati, who is not from any of the four sampradayas. But as long as the mood is aligning perfectly with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we will accept from any sampradaya. And their mantras may not be effective, but there is a difference. There is something more than a mantra that they can have. There is something more than mantra available in Kali Yuga which can deliver them. That is Naam. Their mantras may be ineffective, but Hari's Naam will never be ineffective for them, even if they are not initiated in one of the four sampradayas. No diksham na cha satkriyam. The Chaitanya Charitamrita says Naam doesn't wait for, even if you are not initiated in one of the four sampradayas. Mantra requires a sampradaya, but Naam is independent of all that. So sometimes some individuals are initiated not in sampradayas. We should take initiation in a proper sampradaya. That is required for all of us. But in history, if there were some people who were not initiated in proper sampradayas, but if Krishna has bestowed their mercy upon them, then we should accept from them. Of course, Sri Hari Suri was initiated in Tukaram Maharaj's sampradaya, which comes from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he is from that sampradaya. But I am speaking about other poets who are, who may not be in a sampradaya. So that is broad-mindedness. So I hope that answers, the query to a certain degree of satisfaction. Yes, Prabhu. Your name, Prabhu?
Ekachakra Gramdas.
Ekachakra Gram Prabhu, wonderful. Okay. So we have a query from Ekachakra Gram Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So just a small reflection and then a question I have. Like, it's so incredibly easy to listen to you that reminds me of two verses. One is from Kapila Muni where it says Satam Prasanga Mama Veda Samvilo Bhavanti Rit Karana Rasayana Kata. It's so satisfying to the ears and to the heart. And also in the third verse of Bhagavatam where it said Nigama Kalpa Taror Galitam Phalam. Galitam Phalam is a ripened fruit, and Drava it's like semi-liquid.
Yeah.
And therefore we can pibata, we can drink. become drunkards. So we can sit hours here and drink and feel like this satisfaction in the ears and in the heart. So thank you very much for that. It's just recreation, spiritual recreation here. But the question I have is that many of us may experience that when we are not in a festival and we are with our own group of devotees in our own temples, then the same devotees give lectures and they are not as eloquent as like Sukha Mukat, so expert in explaining the ins and outs of our wonderful literatures given by Srila Prabhupada. So how can we still be so receptive and hearing from devotees who are maybe less expert in presenting this Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy?
All right, so I'm very thankful that you kindly expressed appreciation of the presentation. Your words are pure-hearted, and I offer them to the pure lotus feet of my Guru Parampara, exactly like the pure Ganga is offered to the Ganga. So thank you so much for the kind appreciation. I accept it and offer it to the Guru Janas. But and you said that in a retreat we are having a great time. And yes, this is the purpose of the retreat. The joy of the Vaishnavas is my success. Are the Vaishnavas happy?
Yes.
Then it is my success. So my purpose here was Vaishnavanand, to give joy to the to give joy to the servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if I have succeeded in my purpose, then my coming here was worth it. And I also have this dilemma. You are saying that when this retreat is not there, then how can we hear? I have the dilemma, when the retreat is not there, to whom should I speak? To whom should I speak? There is nobody to speak to. So the speaker and the audience complement each other. Therefore, I am very grateful to the audience. When somebody in the audience goes, wow, so I ascharya ras, when they are experiencing all these various emotions. It is spiritual validation for the speaker that I am speaking something correctly in line with the previous acharyas. So, therefore I also long for the same. But nowadays we have also another alternative, which is like a blind uncle, It is like Zoom lectures, alright? So please select your choicest speakers and you can try to follow them online when it is not possible to gather in person. So that is like a blind uncle is better than no uncle, that's what they say. So Zoom is better than having no association. But we should have 5 such people in life, 5 such individuals whom we cherish, whom we will invite into our tree house, and they will speak to us. So Panchabhihi Sahasthattav, I was quoting that verse, we should speak with 5 people. So I am also trying to find 5 individuals, who will sit in the front, and when I speak they will say yes, because that is what encourages the speaker, So sometimes you see in the audience there are some people who are not so reciprocative with what we are speaking. So I am also looking for 5 individuals. You also please try to find 5 individuals in your life. If you can't find 5, find 4. If not 4, find 3. If not 3, find 2. If not 2, find at least 1 person whom you will invite into your tree house and whom you can listen to. And occasions like these, they should be special. That is what makes it special. Otherwise, it will lose its speciality. Separation is what makes it special. So what will make the Easter retreat special is that after we have gone away from it, the separation is what will make it even more special. So let that separation be. But meanwhile you have some alternatives, which you can continue to follow. But I am very thankful to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Right.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for
Thank-
the wonderful class. I had a question and I want to ask about Sahajyas. Prabhupada often bewares us from Sahajyas, and I struggle to understand who really are Sahajyas
Okay.
and how do we know our boundaries and if we are moving in
Okay.
direction.
Wonderful. So the query is that Srila Prabhupada warned us about Sahajiyas, and what is that warning, how should we identify, and how should we remain cautious of them. So let me just make a statement which might appear slightly surprising, but it is a statement made by our acharyas. Sri Bhakti Vinod Thakur said actually Bhakti Yoga is Sahaj Path, it is the easiest path. Amongst all the paths of attaining Bhagavan, the Sahaj, meaning of the term Sahaj is easy. So Bhakti Yoga is the Sahaj Path. It is the easiest path amongst all the paths of yogas. Therefore, by default, we are all Sahajiyas. Because we have taken to the easiest path for attaining Sri Bhagavan. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur warned us about Prakrita Sahajiyas. So the exact technical term is not Sahajiyas. The exact technical term is Prakrita Sahajiyas. A materialistic easygoer in bhakti is what a Prakrita Sahajiya is. That's how I can try to translate it. A materialistic easygoer on the path of bhakti. So what is the meaning of a Prakrita Sahajiya? The meaning of a Prakrita Sahajiya is an individual who does not have the foundations of Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta. A person who does not have the foundational stones of the philosophical conclusions of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And such a person just directly wants to dive into relishing the poetic and sweet aspects of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So in order to relish that poetry, one should have a foundation of Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta. One should know what is Bhagavan, what is Bhagavan's Shaktis, what is Bhagavan made out of, what are the types of Shaktis, what are the functions of the types of Shaktis. Bhakti is actually a function of the Hladini Shakti. Bhakti is a vritti of the Hladini Shakti. Hladini is one of the branches of the internal potency of Sri Bhagavan. So unless all these things are understood, then if we read the poetry by ourselves without any guidance, then what will happen is we will think it's materialistic because we are not aware of Sri Krishna's siddhantic positions, philosophical positions. So we will think Krishna was like a lusty person who was bending in the foot of Srimati Radharani. So when that materialistic thought enters our mind, at that moment we become Prakrita Sahajiya. Then our mind starts thinking, if Krishna can fall into the feet of Srimati Radharani, then he will also be doing all the things that these materialistic, lovers do. And then our mind starts imagining things about Krishna. To the point where it goes that one starts thinking that actually Krishna is represented by the man and Radha is represented by the woman. So any relationship between a man and woman is a representative of Radha and Krishna. And therefore, my conjugal relationship with, my spouse is also a reflective of that relationship. So such a person trivializes the divine into something materialistic. Therefore, that person is known as Prakrita Sahajiya, a materialistic easygoer. Now, what we do is we take this term and label it loosely to anybody who doesn't agree with our philosophy. Sometimes this tendency is there. So we should be careful in using this term because this term was originally coined in a specific context. In the context of a person who does not have the philosophical foundations of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, is yet directly eager simply to relish the juice of, Madhurya Leela. But if a person has the foundation, like Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, 15 or 20 years they have spent studying the philosophy, they have the foundation, then those individuals should be allowed and they should not be labeled by giving such terminology. So actually all of us are Sahajiyas. Right? Please don't cut out this portion. And so all of us are Sahajiyas, but what we don't want to become is Prakrit Sahajiya. That is what we do. Of the upper Sampradayas, Sri Bhakti Vinod Thakur wrote, one of the upper Sampradayas was Prakrita Sahajiya. But Sahajiya we all are, because we are following the easiest path that is possible to attain Bhagwan. So I hope this satisfies your query to a certain degree, because otherwise forever we will remain away from the Talfal. The Talfal will never become accessible to us. So therefore we need that Talfal, which is Shri Krishna Prem. Thank you so much. Okay. Very good. Yes.
Thank you very much, Harika. Time and again you emphasized how we have to acquaint ourselves with the work of previous acharyas and different commentators. And I was also thinking of how really personally to endeavor to do this more. And we see that in this day and age, the capacity and tendency to read is going down, down and down. So at this juncture, what would be the best way to really tap into or drown ourselves in this flood? Would it be like hearing, or how would you suggest we do it?
Right. So often there is a emphasis which is placed on Shravanam, that is hearing somebody else speak. But there is something much also equally important for our cultivation of spiritual life, which is known as Swadhyay, self-study. Often this aspect is neglected in the society of devotees. Self-study is very important. I received recently a quote by His Holiness Kadamba Kanan Swami Maharaj. In that quote he was saying that if one does not have a culture of self-study, Swadhyay, then after some time everything will become dry. And even the rounds which one is chanting will appear to be dry for that individual. So we should have a very strong culture of Swadhyay, self-study. But the question is, where has Swadhyay or self-study been emphasized? Where has it been said that we should study the literature of the previous acharyas? So it has been specified right there in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 17th chapter, 15th verse, Krishna says that there is austerity of speech. Anudvega karam vakyam satyam priya hitam chayat swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva vangmayam tapa uchyate. So there Krishna mentions Swadhyay, that austerity of speech. Prabhupada translates, austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature, Swa-Adhyay, self-study of Vedic literature. So, as you said, in this day and age, our minds are not so inclined to do this. So, it's like going to a gymnasium. On the first day, you are not expected to lift 50 kg, right? But we start with 15 minutes of Swadhyay. What is Swadhyay? It's not reading like a news reader. Swadhyay means, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur used to say, reading and reflecting upon it. So we should have our notes, a notebook in which we write down what we understood from it. And as we write down what we understood from it, doubts will arise within our hearts. It's very important to have those doubts, because when we listen to lectures, we are directly hearing the conclusions. We are not going through the process of doubt that the speaker went through. So, today you heard the presentation, Purva Rag, Man, this. So, it's not that I took one book, on page 1 there was Purva Rag, I typed the verses. Page 2 there was Man, I typed. This is not how it is. So, it has been a series of self-study, going through doubt. And then what is Lavanya? Yesterday, when I heard the term Lavanya, what is Lavanya? Where is it defined? Then for 3 days I am searching where is Lavanya defined. And then after 3 days I come across a reference by Sri Rupa Gosvami where he says Mukta phaleshu chhayaya staralatvam ivantara. So that is like the wavy radiance of a pearl. Then that is realization. Then we write it down. Then we have our special notes. So actually speaking, studying Srila Prabhupada's books is actual study is to write your own commentary upon it, short commentary upon it. That is Swadhyay. We don't want to publish our commentaries, but we want to write a short commentary of what we have understood by reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Actually, the commentaries of the Acharyas are nothing but their notes. If we see, when Sri Jiva Goswami was writing his commentary, he was not thinking in the future there will be printing press and thousands of copies will be printed. So I am writing for the benefit of everybody. So these were his notes to explain to himself and to explain to others who were sitting beside him. So similarly, we write our notes. This is Swadhyay. 15 minutes a day we start with. Gradually we increase our time duration. This is a very important sadhana that individuals should perform. Srila Prabhupada said that the serious student should read the writings of the previous acharyas. Did I show that quote yesterday? I think in the Bhagavatam lecture I showed, but I did not show it in. How many of us want to become serious students of Srila Prabhupada? Oh yes, everybody wants to become, alright. So here is a quote by Srila Prabhupada, and Devashri Radhika Mataji, you can kindly read the quote. Do you have the mic with you? Yeah, please read. Yeah.
Within the past 500 many erudite scholars and acharyas like Jiva Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Vallabhacharya, and many other distinguished scholars, even after the time of Lord Chaitanya, made elaborate commentaries on the Bhagavatam. And the serious student would do well to attempt to go through them to better relish the transcendental messages.
So there he is, Srila Prabhupada in the commentary to the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So hence proved, as we say in scientific experiments, hence proved that it's important to have a good culture of Swadhyay, and it's like a sadhana that one takes in order to improve. It's important to go through those doubts, to resolve the doubts, rather than listen to somebody's ready-made conclusions. Spoon feeding is good, but going through the difficulties of the process is a different joyous experience altogether. So that is why self-study is very important. That is the answer to your query. I hope it satisfies you. Thank you. All right. Okay. Prabhu, Gaurhari Prabhu, please let me know when to stop.
Yeah, maybe it's a good time. We can still have, there will still be a question answer session tomorrow.
Yes.
In case there is more.
Yeah. So I think now is a good time to pause, because the happiest part is beginning now. Prasadam, dear devotee. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hani rasya upajayate. If there was any unhappiness remaining, let prasadam cure that unhappiness, dear devotees. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai.